WTVO Channel 17 Weekend. News where you live.
There may be a deadly danger lurking in your home and you probably don't even know it. That's our top story tonight at 10. Good evening. I'm Katie Hammer. You may have never thought that the stove in your kitchen could tip over if your child stepped on the door. Tonight we bring you an exclusive story about the dangers of oven tipping and how it is affecting a Rockford family.
You would have no idea that by opening an oven door and placing weight on the edge of the door that the range would tip.
But it does if small metal brackets known as an anti-tip device are not installed. Attorney Dan Sciano says they are rarely installed, and several kids across the country have died as a result.
It is a latent defect. It's a defect that's hidden.
The manufacturers provide the device and warn consumers of the danger, but Sciano says the warning is too small to read.
If you look at that label from here and you look down and say, what does it say? You can't do it. I mean, you literally would have to get down on your knees and still I don't think you would understand that.
Regardless, he says installers rarely put them in place.
98% of the time not installed with some. 100% of the time not installed with others. 10% of the time installed with other manufacturers.
We performed some random spot checks and found Sciano's claims to be true.
I'm surprised that I would even have to think about this, that something wasn't already, pre-done with the stove to make sure it wouldn't tip.
Before we stopped by James Smitley's home, he had never heard of anti-tip brackets. He was shocked when we asked him to put pressure on his oven door.
See, I'm barely putting any pressure here and tipping it way over.
The same thing happened when we stopped by Lusa Butera's home, who is a mother of 3.
I've never heard about an anti-tip device for the stove at all. Matter of fact, I would think that would be so heavy that kids couldn't push that over.
Sciano is from out of state, but is in Rockford working on a case involving a child that was burned after a stove tipped over on her while she was living in the Concord Commons housing complex. It is just one of more than 100 cases involving stove tip-overs he has been involved with.
In those moments, the children come into the kitchen, open the oven door, put weight on the door, and the pot of boiling oil hits the 8-month-old child and catastrophically burns her.
Sciano has even come up with a design he says would have prevented these injuries and deaths.
Make the door yield without a bracket on the back of the range, and that can be accomplished by many ways. Counterweight, adding weight to the back of the range. The ranges are already 140 pounds and take 2 people to move them.
But time and time again, his argument loses against the manufacturers in court.
There are not enough injuries, is what we heard from the lawyer of the major manufacturer.
He is so passionate about saving the children, he will continue his campaign until he never has to represent another family that has lost a child.
According to the Association of Home Appliance Manufacturers, an industry trade group, in a written statement to WTVO, they tell us manufacturers adhere to all safety and stability requirements set by U.S. safety organizations. A woman's Sunday morning coffee is interrupted when a man enters her home and demands cash. Officials say the man entered this home